Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Chasing Psychological Safety. As you know, we gather here every week, more or less, to talk about the health of the team. This week, we're going to attempt to talk to you about something slightly different, but absolutely part of it, which is the well-being of yourself as an individual, and what are some of the things that you could do to contribute to the team's health. We have talked, not yesterday, but last week, about the topic of the people practice that each of the team leaders should be building as they grow their EQ and as they move us all into this new period, in particular in terms of remote work and understanding their teams from afar. Part of that people practice, we believe, should be keeping an eye on the individual practices of the people in the team and whether or not they have managed to get themselves stable and at a place where some of these topics are in place. And we'll give you some examples real quick. Shall I let you start, Fiona? Do you want to?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to start by talking to you a little bit about why and finding your personal why. So I'm just going to follow on from what Dwayne has said there by saying there's a classic phrase, you can't look after somebody else if you haven't looked after yourself first. It's a little bit like you can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself. And I think that's why we're talking about this, because if you need to be, want to be a strong, resilient leader and somebody that feels good day to day about their work. So that's why we're here talking about this. Finding your why is very much about connecting you back to your work and giving you a foundation stone, something that you can always go back to remotivate yourself and give yourself strength. So finding your personal why is the place to start. Look at anything by Simon Sinek on Start With Why, his book, his videos, and just start to explore and get under the skin of what your fundamental reason and motivation is for doing the work that you do every single day. It'll be a wide variety of things, but if you can connect with that, it'll give you that resilience. And as a team leader, you can then talk to your team about that as well. And that's a really great moment. And then you're starting to shift things with your team also.
Excellent. So number one thing is find and keep your why front of mind. Number two thing I would say is strongly advised towards the things that used to be typically thought of as fluffy and not exactly workplace related, but they absolutely are. Things like getting better at breathing, things like getting a meditation practice in of some sort, whether it's, a Tibetan or it's actually thinking about the mysteries of life. It doesn't really matter as long as you have that space to think. And then there are things like a number of things that you could be doing in terms of your personal practice, because they are all, and choose them so that they fit your personality and what makes best sense to you, but choose them that they exist and transform them into habits, because it is that habit that is going to eventually give you the resilience that Fiona is talking about. It's going to help you change your neural pathways. It's going to help reframe your thinking, and it is truly and absolutely giving you results from a scientific point of view, rewiring the way you're thinking of life. Obviously, we're all going through a horrible period. We could all benefit from having an individual therapist. We can't afford that, I suppose, most of us. But instead of that, start by taking care of yourself, by putting those things in place. It is the time you're going to have permission for once from your company, from your team, from your team leader that's now EQ'd and people practiced enough to allow that. Whatever you do as an individual, spend some time working out outside of how I sleep and what I eat and what I do for exercise. What do I do for my mind? What do I do so that my thought process is structured in a healthy and stable way?
Yep, that's a fantastic way to put it. So my thought process is structured in a healthy way. I think what we know from personal experience and from working with and knowing, a wide range of people is that, you don't even have to meditate for that long. 3 minutes of meditation and good breathing can make all the difference to you on a daily basis. One of the things that I also wanted to talk about was gratitude. So again, we're talking about steps you can take that will help to reframe that negativity bias that we naturally have as human beings, and also will help to help you to reflect on what's been great about your day. So this is the reframing instead of what's been so bad. So there's a few ways you can do this. We've talked about journaling before. We've talked about having a leadership journaling practice. As a human being, it can be great to journal. And one of the things that you can do maybe this is the only thing you do, and that would be absolutely a great start, is just to write down at the end of each day 2 things that you've been grateful for. So rather than thinking, I didn't get that done, I didn't get that done, you might be writing down, I had lunch with my kids and a great conversation with my 12-year-old, and you might be writing down, I delivered that piece of work that I really wanted to get done, and I'm proud of what I did today. And suddenly things look very different, and you're starting to focus on strengths and achievements rather than the other side of things. At a team level, gratitude as team practitioners is everything. It's in so many of the things that we recommend that you do, but sitting around with your team and building into some of your team interactions, what am I grateful for? What are we grateful for in this team? What am I grateful for in the people that I work with? Again, just helps the team to stay motivated and to completely reframe the work that they're doing. It also builds trust, which is the foundation stone of psychological safety.
One of the things that team leaders will find in our team solution is the fact that it asks these questions. It asks people, what do you do for sports? Do you run? Do you lift weights? What do you do do you ever meditate? But in the absence of software that will ask these questions for you, if you're a team leader, you will have to find a way to best present the idea of an individual or personal practice to the team members of your team. And that's if you want to have them bring their whole self to work, case in which we can start better building psychological safety. Thank you so much for listening to us today, and
thank
we'll
you.
talk to you next week. Bye.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Bye.